This video is intended to describe two lightblade talismans, both named Transmutation. Joining me today will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map, which I'll be utilizing for quite a bit of chakra exclamation reference. And also, for a quick preface, this description will be rather redundant, hence the concentration of the Transmutation platform is very grounding and insulating, designed primarily to ground excess energy into the earth for reprocessing. So that's a little disclaimer. Without further ado, I'll be getting into the constructs. So describing one of these will be describing the other one pretty much identically, except for the hood installations that have a slight deviation, which will be described in turn when the time comes. Without further ado, getting straight into the transmutation ratio, consisting of this blade band scaffolding right here, which vaguely resembles a figure 8 designed to perpetually recirculate energy in a closed loop circuit. With the primary blade banding seen right here, the transmutation lateral band, as well as now concealed by the hoods, a band going from here to connect these quadrants of the transmutation ratio, running like so up the sides laterally, and so right here with the apex band to vaguely, once again, resemble a figure 8 to be developed to recirculate energy through the entire construct. So the transmutation ratio, starting off with hematite, is an iron-based mineral which is very effective for taking all stray radial energies and firmly grounding through the root into the earth stars and into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. So I'll be saying that quite a bit as a quick another disclaimer, because the concentration of these devices is very focused for the very high yield grounding of tangibility into the earth plane. So back on track with the hematite, the iron-based, in tandem with smoky quartz. Smoky quartz, much like hematite, is fantastic for being a composting of excess energy and grounding through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. Hence, the transmutation ratio is developed to be a very high-yield grounding into earth for rapid purification or etheric dialysis, or even etheric Teflon as a little joke, to very much encourage all excess energies to be firmly grounded into the earth, to mitigate or discourage negativity from lingering into the field, to be successfully grounded for consistent clear energy, which is very conducive to also making the magic real. Hence, this platform has enjoyed wide distribution all across the world at this point due to its effective and simple nature. So once again, that ignition sequence of hematite and smoky quartz is offset all the way like so through this entire primary blade band, up this side right here, up the sides right here, now concealed by the leather, as well as up here. Then the apex band have a very slight deviation of using clear quartz and hematite. Once again, hematite encourages the rapid grounding of all excess energy into the earth. I cannot repeat that enough for the purpose of this dissertation. But the clear quartz works as a natural, neutral, ambient acceleration of energy, which could also put it in the realm of being consciousness-assisted technology, or the prayers or invocations or intentions of the recipient who will be wielding this, of course, can run the prayers, if you would, through this entire closed-loop reactive construct, which makes it also very neutrally ambient and easy to resonate with for the purposes of the practitioner this is developed for. So, once again, that's the entirety of the transmutation light blade scaffolding described thus far. Next, I'll be getting into the blade facing, which these have been developed as a twin set, like so. So, like I mentioned, describing one will be describing the other one pretty much impeccably. Starting off the very apex of both of these devices is Tibetan black tektite. Black tektite is a fantastic product of nuclear meteorite impacting the Earth from space that vaporizes sand with extraterrestrial energy. And luckily, it's a black-gray crystal, which means its stimulation point has a very powerful full light body stimulating capacity, but most importantly, from the black-gray Earth stars up, to be a very nice, even foundational way to raise vibrations through the entire auric field. But like I mentioned thrice, the aspect of being very grounded is very, very critical for having the energy actually rising through the entire chakra column to be a very nice kundalini stimulant which would be very advantageous for this entire grounded platform, which is developed essentially to be a very strong insulation of energy and to mitigate, like I mentioned, any aspects of negativity coming into the system externally or internally to be rapidly discharged, to be highly discouraged, to maintain stagnancy through the entire auric field is the prerogative of these devices. So like I mentioned, nice little raising of vibration for the entire threshold of this device. And so right here is black obsidian, a classic First Nation utilized stone of medicine or crystal of magic. It has a very nice, once again, black-gray product of volcanic activity glass to once again purify energy by firmly grounding it into the earth for reprocessing. I'll be saying that probably 10 times for this video. And on the other side of the blade face of both of these would be the utilization of black kyanite exclusively. Kyanites, for that matter, are the most rapid transfers of energy in the mineral kingdom. Hence, the black ray of kyanite is the most rapid transfer of energy into the earth as absolute quick as possible, which can also serve like a surge protector for high frequency energies to have a safe, rapid pass into the earth for reprocessing at a very quick rate. Hence, I'm whimsically moving my pen on my whimsical stick figure chakra map to do my best to illustrate for this dissertation. Then, the cores of both of these devices actually comes from a good friend of mine who's an oak tree right here at the tip of my pen in my backyard. So oak is a fantastic wood of dense atomical structure, which makes for a great strengthening foundational frequency alignment, based on the fact that the sacred one-legged is a carbon-based resonance, which is compatible with our carbon-based avatars, at least for now, to be of maximum resonance of the wood range, which is very compatible with the human morphic field. So that's why oak is there, to be the core of this entire device, to be, of course, another very encouraging earthy frequency for this high-frequency apparatus, Cs, to put a plural on that. I'll describe the selenites very last, next to the wooden cores seen underneath this blade face intentionally. So next I'll be describing the various hoods seen right here. So this right here is a lovely Jedi brown leather hood concealing two pieces of black shungite on both sides. Hence they're here because this is the best way to illustrate them due to a time constraint to make sure these are operational ready for the recipients who are leaving town today. So I took the liberty of having the loose stones to describe them freehand. Underneath both of these hoods, seen right here, on both sides of the devices are pieces of black shungite, much seen like this, adhered to the primary wire of this device. Black shungite is a very fantastic, quite famous and in vogue black-gray crystal for mitigating EMF harmful wavelengths that modern humanity contends with. So the aspect of having a carbon-based charcoal filter, once again, like everything else on this concentrated platform, is developed to bring extreme purification of the entire energy field through high-yield transmutation of the earth for reprocessing. Hence, it's a very concentrated device for this exact purpose. So shungite, of course, is very nice for mitigating the harmful wavelengths that can harm our subtle DNA, the auric field of the 5G, unnatural radiations, and energy wavelengths, like I mentioned, we contend with in the modern human paradigm. But the aspect of black shungite also makes for a lovely purification of the entire cellular network that be impeding one's life-body health to quite simply be a very nice purification agent, which is a way to put it simple. And last but not least, I'll be discussing the selenites seen right here that play a rather critical role. So when it comes to this entire closed-loop frequency apparatus of both these devices seen right here, the selenites always play quite the critical role for this distinct purpose. Selenite by itself is a fantastic master healer that clears the 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakras back to one's godhead, which can be very much conducive to burning off the debris between one's conscious self and one's spiritual guidance, which obviously for the spiritual adept is self-evidently advantageous. But the aspect of the selenite also makes for that divine induction to be a lovely way to burn off stagnant energies that are not of one's divine blueprint through the entire auric field, particularly in concentration with such a grounded, purifying device, it makes for the perfect antithesis for the functionality of the transmutation to simply transmute negativity into positivity by design. So, like I mentioned, the selenite is a fantastic master healer in its own right for the exact purpose of divine union, which obviously could be deduced to the spiritual journey's goal, if you would, or the quest. But the aspect where it really shines in this whole tool set is that in this 10.5 minutes I've been ranting to this video, is taking this entire crystalline frequency pitch mentioned thus far. Selenite can amplify the entire output. It can also purify further the entire output. And perhaps most importantly, bring harmonization and equilibrium to the entire group crystalline frequency pitch of these devices. So I'll sum that up once again. The selenites on here with this entire transmutation ratio work to amplify, purify, and harmonize the entire vibratory output wavelength of these two devices in tandem. So that's exactly why those aspects are always saved for last to be a comprehensive capstone. And all these different various frequencies are grounded to a primary wire of copper, brass, and silver to be a very nice triangulation of metals spooled together via drill to work as the main vein for all these other components to be grounded into to generate very clean, significant vibrational compound interest. And so before I sign off, I'll discuss more of the hood functionality seen right here. So the hoods are there for far more than aesthetics. They are indeed a functional part of the device's platform right here. So the aspect of the brown works as a color therapy resonance to encourage very earthy vibrations. B, it also works to insulate the excess energy between the main blade band as well as the apex band to mitigate energy leakages for further recirculation efficiency, as well as way to protect the subtle stones terminated over here, and also it does look like a more completed construct. So this right here would be traditional brown leather, which I consider to be Jedi brown as a little coy joke I employ quite often when using this leather. And this right here is a very interesting departure from normalcy of being a flax linen bag I cut up with scissors to be the installation of the hood at the request of the recipient, which is a very nice little touch, but indeed has many layers wrapped around it to indeed still serve that subtle insulation and protection of the shungites seen under here, not seen under here anymore, to be terminated. So that'd be the entire crystalline composition, nearly 13 minutes, but the aspect of these designs, of course, are developed to be worn as talismans, to be worn on the person, to be a very relatively unencumbersome energy filter to be worn on the recipients to encourage their spiritual dispositions and to maintain integrity of energy by high yield transmutation of, quite simply, being developed to resonate with the earth frequency for rapid transmutation etheric dialysis once again. Well, that would be the transmutation platform mentioned once again. 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with us all.